Okay, this is the video answer key for 9192 worksheet number 1 here. All right, so on this first guy, your axis symmetry should be at x equals -1 because that is where we can put our symmetrical line to cut it in half. Your vertex, again, is your highest or lowest point. Oops. So right here, that would be your vertex. So that would be -1, -1. It is a minimum point because it's the lowest point on your grid. Your domain is always all reals. Your range is y. Since this is going up, it's greater than or equal. And then again, you're looking at what is the lowest level that we're at here. So in this case, it would be -1, or you can just pull it straight from here. So y is greater than -1. Your solutions are again where it crosses the x-axis. So it is crossing at 0, so x equals 0, and it's crossing at -2, so x equals -2. Okay, on your next one here, your axis symmetry again is where does it cross the x-axis when I draw my line down through. So I draw this line through, and my axis symmetry crosses the x-axis at -4. My vertex, again, is my highest point. So that coordinate point is -4, -2. Okay, it is a maximum point because it is the highest point on the grid. This is all reals. Domain's always all reals. All right, your range is y. Now, since it's going down, it's less than or equal. And then again, where is our cutoff right here? Well, your cutoff would be at the -2. Okay, again, or it's just pull it from right from here. -2. Now my solutions here is where does it cross the x-axis? In this case, it does not ever touch this x-axis. Therefore, there are no solutions. Okay, number 3, axis symmetry. Again, where does that line cross the x-axis at? So I would be drawing it right down through here for x equals 3. Okay, your vertex, again, is the highest or lowest point. So your vertex in this case is going to be 3, -1, which is a minimum point. Okay, so it's the lowest point on your grid. Domain is always all reals. Your range, y, greater than or equal because it's going up. Now, again, find the cutoff. Where's it going up at? Starting at -1, okay? Or, like I said, x's are the same, y's are the same. And your solution is where does it cross the x-axis? So when I'm looking, oops, wrong one, not the highlighter. So when I'm looking at this guy, I've got 2 and 4 is where it's crossing that x-axis. So x equals 2 and x equals 4. Okay? All right, on number 4, axis symmetry. Again, where does the line cross the x-axis? So it is crossing at -3. So x equals -3. My vertex is my highest or lowest point. So my highest point here would be -3, 2. And that is a maximum because it's your highest. Your domain is all reals. Your range would be y. Again, it's less than or equal because it's going down. And then your y value would be 2. Okay, your solutions would be it's crossing at -2 and it's crossing at -4. So again, where is it crossing up here? It's crossing at -2, -4. And then on that y there, where's your cutoff? Before you shoot down, well, your cutoff is 2. So that's why we have a 2 right there. Okay. All right, next page. All right, I'm asking you to write an equation. All right, so first thing we've got to do is we have to figure out where does it cross the axis and start with those 2 points. So I have got, it's a y equals, it is shooting down, so that means I'm going to throw a -1 out front. Okay, and then my job is to figure out what are my factors. Well, if we know x equals -3 and x equals 1 are your solutions, what would be the factors that would give you this answer? So move that 3 over, and it would be x plus 3. Move this 1 over, and that's x minus 1. Okay, now go ahead and let's FOIL that out. So I'm going to get x times x is x squared minus 1x plus 3x minus 3, or combine like terms and get x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now I still have the -1 out front and an equals y. So now I'm going to go ahead and distribute that negative through to all the parts and get y equals -x squared minus 2x plus 3 is my answer. Okay, trying this next guy here. So it's going to cross at 2 and 4. So I've got x equals 2 and x equals 4. So again, what are my factors? I'm going to move the 2 over. So my factor should have been a negative 2. And my factor here should have been a negative 4. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and FOIL it out and get x squared minus 4x minus 2x plus 8, or x squared minus 6x plus 8. Now, since it's opening up here, we don't worry about putting that negative 1 out front. And then I need a y equals. So y equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, on the next one here, okay, so on this guy, we're crossing at negative 2 and 0. So I've got x equals negative 2 and x equals 0. So my factor, I'm going to bring that over and get x plus 2. I'm going to bring that over and just get x plus 0. So I'm just going to put down x. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that x through and get x squared plus 2x. I'm going to set it equal to y. And once again, keep in mind, it's going up, so I don't worry about putting that negative 1 out front. Okay, and that's my answer. Okay, all right, so now on this guy, my factors are negative 4 and negative 2. So I'm going to get x plus 4, right, because I'm bringing it over. I'm going to bring this over and get x plus 2. Now, since it's opening down, I got to throw that negative 1 in front. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and FOIL it out. So I get x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8, or combine like terms, x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now I still have that negative 1 out front, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute the negative 1 through and get y equals negative 1x squared minus 6x minus 8. Okay, on this one, solve by factoring. So we're going to go ahead and make sure you set this equal to 0. So I'm going to bring that 45 over. And I'm going to set it equal to 0, get x squared plus 4x minus 45 equals 0. Okay, so now I'm looking for factors of negative 45 that get me 4 in the middle. Okay, so 5 and 9, and then I'm going to make that 5 negative so that when I add them, I get that positive 4. So I've got x minus 5 and x plus 9 equals 0. So now again, take each factor, equal it to 0, and solve. So I end up with x equals 5 and x equals negative 9. Okay. All right, quadratic formula time on this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead first off though and move this 4x right to here in the middle. So I'm going to be subtracting the 4x off. So I get 8x squared minus 4x minus 24 equals 0. Okay, and then keep in mind this is A, B, and C. So x equals opposite of negative 4 is a positive 4, plus or minus the square root of 4 squared, negative 4 squared, minus 4 times A times C, all over 2 times A. Okay, so now I'm going to solve. So x equals 4 plus or minus, and negative 4 squared minus 4 times 8 times negative 24, and I end up with the square root of 784 over 16. All right, and then the square root of 784 is 28. So I have x equals 4 plus or minus 28 divided by 16. All right, so x equals 4 plus 28, divide that by 16, and x equals 4 minus 28, and divide that by 16. So on this one, I end up with 32 divided by 16, or I get x equals 2. On this one, I subtract and get negative 24 divided by 16. Now, if you want to go ahead and just reduce your fraction, you can do that and get x equals 3/2 negative. And then if you want to put it as a decimal, you could also say negative 1.5. I don't care which one of those you do. Okay. On this last one here, it says solve by taking the square root of each side. So when we're taking the square root of each side, remember we are isolating this guy. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the 3 off and get 4x squared equals 36. I'm going to divide both sides by 4 and get x squared equals 9. Okay, then I'm going to square root both sides and get x equals, remember, plus or minus 3. Remember, you need 2 answers there. And that concludes the video, this video answer key.